From Delaware's premier television company comes a new and exciting website, Delaware28.com. On Delaware28.com, you can check on the latest updates on all your favorite shows. Around Town, City Scene, Cook to Order, Product Knowledge, and The Tim Paul Show. And now you can also enjoy our live feed feature where you, too, can become a star. So don't delay and get on your computer today and check Delaware28.com. Delaware's premier television programming is now your premier website.
The next car we're going to look at is ironically parked right next to the last one we looked at. This one, I happened to be walking by and I was looking at this. The last guy was talking about how many miles. This car also has 90-some miles on it. But I found out it's a little bit more than 90-some. It's 90,000-some.
94,000.
94,000. We were talking about cars are meant to be driven, enjoyed, that sort of thing. That car, he actually happened to be mentioning that when he said 90-some miles. This car actually is driven and enjoyed.
Yes, it is, throughout all weather.
Tell us your name. Tell us where you're from.
Sally Maley. We're from Newark, Delaware.
Newark, hometown. So am I. Now, tell us a little bit about the car, what we're looking at.
It's a 96 Impala SS. We bought it new. We had 14 miles on it when we bought it, and put the rest of them on and enjoying it.
So you've enjoyed the whole car all the way through?
Yes, we have. It was my driver for 3.5 years. My daily driver.
Now, what was the package with the SS?
Just basically as you see it, the engine dress is not stock, and we took some baffles off for sound.
Sure, and
this is the way it should have been sold.
Absolutely. Now, those are the stock wheels.
Yes, they are.
That's it. It's a great looking car. When I walked up, we said that nothing looks better than black when it's clean, and nothing's harder to keep that way.
You got that right.
Well, you've done a great job. The cameras, I'm sure, is picking up how nice this car is. And 90-some thousand miles. It looks great. It looks like as good as the 90-some mile car we were just looking at.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for bringing it out and showing it to us today.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Welcome back. We're looking at another late model, ironically. We didn't plan on it to work out this way, but we're looking at all late models so far today. This truck pulled up, parked when we were getting the equipment out, and I said, well, we got to talk to this gentleman about this truck. Tell us your name. Tell us where you're from.
John Posey from Middletown, Delaware.
From Middletown. Now, when you drove in, the truck didn't look like this.
No, it was a little bit higher.
Tell us a little bit about the truck, what you've done to it.
It's got a full airbag suspension, KP components, cantilever, six link in the rear. I built everything myself. Firewalls, tub, bed floors raised 6.5 inches to hide the compressors and all the air tanks under the bed. That's about it. She's a daily driver.
It's a daily driver as well. This makes it like a really unusual daily driver. Most people take something this nice, bring it out only on the weekend.
Yep, I drive it every day. It's got just about to click 100,000 miles.
Well, that's great. Now, you mentioned some things that we know what they are, but let's talk about it just a little bit for the folks at home that don't know. You said a 6-link.
Yeah, it's got the suspension system in the rear is a 6-link suspension with a panhard bar. It's kind of stolen off a racing style suspension.
And that's what allows it to lower all the way and keep the alignment specs.
Yeah, exactly. In the rear, it gets me about 14 inches of lift and then drops all the way to the frame.
Now, when people see these vehicles and they drop like this and they hear the hissing sound, for those that don't understand, I mean that's an airbag setup.
Yep, that's the airbag in place of the coil spring. Yep, just letting the pressure out and putting the truck down on the earth.
And so if the folks at home took the regular springs out of their vehicle, this is the way it would look.
Maybe. You'd have to cut a lot of stuff to get it down that low.
Right, and that's what you were talking about, the tubs and that sort of thing to get the clearance, because the wheels aren't normally made to go up in this far. There's bump stops and stuff on the suspension to keep it from moving this far.
Exactly. Yep, I can take all the bump stops out. Actually, the upper control arms are flipped upside down and swapped to get it to come up in that far. And the firewall's got to be tubbed to get the big wheel clearance, and so it doesn't rub when I ride low.
Yeah, this is a great looking truck. Thanks for explaining it for everybody at home that's looking. Thanks for talking to us today.
Thank you very much.
Finally, we get to look at a couple of older vehicles. We've been looking at late models all day. I kept kind of hanging around these two Studebakers, hoping I'd find who they belong to. and they're standing right here next to me. Tell us your name, tell us where you're from.
I'm William Linton from Newcastle. This is my girlfriend, Jackie Fields. We're both from Newcastle.
Nice to meet you both. These are a couple of great looking Studebakers. The one I'm a little bit familiar with. I helped a buddy of mine restore one, the Avanti. The Silverhawk I'm not as familiar with.
It's a 59 Silverhawk, like one of the last years with the big fins up in the back, and that's why she wanted the car. She saw it on the TV show that was on TV there, and she liked the fins on the back of it, so we went looking for one and found this one.
Now, one of the things I think I'm right, the fins on this are actually fiberglass. Is that right?
No, they're metal.
They are metal. Okay, I thought they were fiberglass, and they cover up actually a body seam that goes down the top of the quarter.
That's correct. Yeah, take that right off, and it gives you the same body line as the Commandos had.
Okay. Now, for the folks at home, they're seeing the wires going to the two cars, and the kids that might be watching at home, those are drive-in speakers.
That's correct. Yeah, then back in the old days when you had to drive in and stuff, you'd pull up and reach out and bring your speakers in so you could hear what the drive-in movie was.
But now, boyfriend, girlfriend, you wouldn't have taken two cars to the drive-in.
Oh, heck no. You take one car. You can be real close.
That's right.
Make sure you got a bench seat so you don't sit very far apart.
Now, tell us a little bit about the Avanti.
I've had it about 6 years now. 63. It's got the original 289 Studebaker motor in it. It's pretty much all original. We're doing a little bit onto it, repainting it and doing some odds and ends and stuff, but it's coming along.
Now, a lot of people hear 289 and they think, of course, of the early Ford motor. This is nothing like that. It's actually about twice as big as the Ford 289.
Right. It was a combination at that time. Studebaker and Packard were a motor company combined together, and it actually looks like the 289 that they had in the Packard, which was a Studebaker and Packard combination motor. Lots of horsepower. This is
actually in fantastic shape. Did you do the restoration?
I've done some of the work onto it. The paint job was on it when I bought it, but most the interior and stuff we've done since we've had bumpers and stuff. We had re-chrome. Actually, the back bumper's still out now being done. Hadn't come back in yet.
Now, while this is a Studebaker, there is a body style that's screamingly similar to this today. The Avanti is actually still being made.
The Avanti too. People that worked for Studebaker at one time took over and bought the rights for the patent it. And they actually most of them had Chevrolet drivetrains underneath of them.
That's right.
And actually, they were made up to like 2 years ago. Now I've heard that the company is completely out now. They were making a lot of them in Canada.
Okay, yeah, I know they made a convertible version of this. They made a four-door that just looked atrocious.
Yeah, the four doors were not very nice looking. They were kind of ugly. The convertibles in the later years and stuff, they molded the bumpers in and really looked sleek.
Well, this is actually a timeless body style. The models that they made up until just recently hadn't changed a lot from this. I mean, it was very contemporary design.
Yeah, but the body lines pretty much stayed the same. All they had to do was kind of conform with the government, with the bumpers and stuff. They kind of molded them in to make it, it didn't stick out like the newer ones did.
Well, thank you very much for talking to us about them, and thanks for bringing them out today. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Well, it looks like we might be done with the late models today. Here's another older one we're looking at. This is after we've looked at the two Studebakers. Tell us your name, tell us what we're looking at.
Paul Garwood, and this is a 51 Chevrolet Woody Wagon.
A Woody Wagon, and I don't want to throw you under the bus, but it doesn't look like there's any wood here at all.
No, it's all faux finished wood grain on the outside, but the only wood that's on is at the inside is the door panels. That came from the factory that way, and they're reproduction door panels on it.
Hey, well, if you didn't know, if you didn't tell me that these were painted on wood sides, I would have never known it. It looks like $1 million.
Well, I had a guy when we came in, he looked at it and he was standing alongside of it. He says, "Look at that thing, that wood is perfect on that car." He couldn't tell the difference until he ran up and felt it.
You can't, and the wood grain is done at all the joints like it would normally be.
Right. And a friend of mine did this, Jerry Campbell. He does flames and he does wood graining, and he had this at his house for 3 weeks doing this, but it's a 4 or 5 coat operation. You got to let one dry before you can do the other one. You got to let it dry 3 or 4 days and all that stuff.
Any of the hot rodders around here all know Jerry Campbell's name. He actually did a van for me a long, long time ago.
I have probably never seen the van, but I know Jerry has done a lot of stuff around flames and all kinds of things.
Sure. Now the cameraman's up front. He's on that air cleaner right now. Now that looks like you were saying, looks like a tree stump or just a log sawed off.
Yeah, that's an old Cadillac air cleaner, and I talked to Jerry about it. It was my idea, and he drained the top of it like a tree stump, and then did the sides with wood grain on it. It's pretty neat looking.
Now, you were telling me not too long ago, this wasn't even started. What was it, July?
Last weekend in July this year, last year, this was sitting in my driveway with no floors, no rocker panels. The bottom of the doors was rusted out, and now it's done in here.
But so we were like 7-8 months, and you said 3 weeks of that it was at the upholstery shop.
Right, it was 3 weeks at the upholstery shop and 3 weeks at Jerry's when he was wood graining it.
Now,
It was a fast track car.
this was definitely a fast track car. Now, what about like the suspension and all?
The suspension, it's got a Mustang 2 front end under it. It's got a 350 crate motor that you can go to General Motors and buy.
Sure.
Right over the counter. And it's got a 94 S10 Blazer rear under it. And it's got 700R overdrive transmission, and it's got air conditioning in it.
And air conditioning. What a great cruiser. What a great show car. Thank you very much for bringing it out and showing it to us today.
You're welcome.